Been trying to make an intro for this video, but what can I say? I'm not a real architect when it comes to creating cool intros. Pun aside and everything. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Matt Diazable coming at you with the new music review. Thanks for coming on by. Today I am checking out the band Architects with their latest album, The Sky, the Earth, and All Between. If you don't know anything about this band, Architects is a UK-based metalcore band, and they've been around since about 2005, 2006. I first discovered them when I found their album Nightmares, and that's when the band was in a transitional period because they got a change in vocalist. Sam Carter came in, and that was like, he's been the main vocalist since then. They had a different vocalist and a different style at the beginning of their career. I guess they were considered more of a mathcore band, a little bit more erratic and sporadic in terms of their playing style. But since that first couple of albums, they've kind of, or no, not Nightmare, but it was Ruins. That was the first album I heard from them. And then since that album and on, they've kind of shifted more into a metalcore sound. And at times, you know, with that one album, I think it's called The Hereafter, where they went into more of a rock style, but then went back into their more metalcore style and some melodic metalcore. They've definitely done a lot of different genres, heavy, light, a lot of stuff that people really liked and a lot of stuff that a lot of people didn't like. So they've had a very up and down career, especially with the main founders of the band. I think Tom and Daniel Seeley, if I remember correctly, the drummer and the guitarist. They started this band. They were brothers. They were in the band for a lot of the time. And if you know about this band, the guitarist of the band, Tom Seeley, he passed away almost probably 10 years ago now from cancer and everything. And he was one of the main founders and writers of the band. It affected the band, the metalcore genre as a whole. But the band continued on, having other amazing guitarists come in. If I'm correct, I don't think John Singleton, but the guy from Silas came in for a while. Tom Hiddleston, I think. But they've had a lot of different members come and go, but they've kept that whole metalcore style and pushed it forward in many different ways that people either like or dislike. And this new album does, that similar thing of pushing things forward and further with the band's sound by blending like signature melodic style metalcore with crushing death metal influences and some industrial textures and just some atmospheric rock to, show that the band is able to still do very interesting things with the style of metalcore and just their own personal style. And with this newest album, they are constantly shifting between beauty and brutality while proving that they're able to push their sound further and evolve it in many ways while also staying true to their roots. And I gotta say, I was really surprised by this one striking element about this particular album. It's just dumb heavy. Tracks like Elegy and Black Hole really just dive headfirst into death metal territory by having some really relentless style drumming, dense riffs, and just guttural vocals that feel almost like unrecognizable compared to their like recent other albums. I was like genuinely blown away when some of this stuff kicked in, especially with the opening song Elegy. When I was listening to it, I was just like, all right, everything's going pretty good. And then it just boom, it just hits you like a freight train. You're like, whoa. So I gotta play a clip of that song Elegy so you get a sense of that heaviness they're bringing with this album. Intent. And continuing with that heaviness, the breakdowns on this record, like on Whiplash and Judgment Day, are probably some of the most devastating breakdowns the band has ever delivered, with some really industrial style influences and some eerie synths to add that extra bit of oomphness and just textures and just, little nuances to make their breakdowns and just their heaviness to be more distinctive and unique. And Sam Carter's vocals remain a highlight in the band by showcasing some really refined balance between, his well-established clean melodies and some really just vicious growls that, probably the most vicious growls he's ever recorded. Like his vocal delivery on the song Broken Mirror is particularly intriguing because it's almost like he's channeling his friend Ollie Sykes with his almost different and interesting vocal style here. Like it's almost like I couldn't tell the two apart, and he's never sounded like that before. So he's definitely bringing some versatility here with this newest record. So I want to play a clip of Broken Mirror for you so you get a sense of just that vocal range he has here.
No sleep in the bed we made, 2 saints and a hand grenade. Forever long, I cried to anyone. Oh, highways over shallow graves, cold rain down a wind.
I guess just the way that his like enunciation and the way he's singing here, it just reminds me of Ollie Sykes so much. Meanwhile, on the song Evil Eyes, he has a more of a softer, more textured singing here that blends in beautifully with the track's mesmerizing guitar work and synth work as well, crafting possibly one of the most emotional moments on the record. Instrumentally, the band kind of leans more into gent style grooves, industrial style riffage, and more traditional rock, metalcore leads that, you know, give each song a very distinctive identity. For example, like on the song Brain Dead, the band is taking more of a punk approach here by blending fast-paced drumming with some really metal tune aggression, while on the song Landmines, the band has more of like a grimy bass and guitar feel here with angelic style synths. You know, it creates like a striking balance between raw energy and just like divine soundscapes. It's an interesting combination they have here. And so I'm gonna play Brain Dead for you so you get a sense of just that diverse playing they have here on this album. Tell me that's not punk influenced. And the guest features on this album kind of give the album a more variety feel. Like on the song Judgment Day, they have the singer, I'm probably butchering their name, Amari Eflick. Sorry if I messed up that name. But with this feature, it has a very, not to say divine, but ethereal and like space-like feel to it, giving like the song a very haunting contrast to the band's dense playing. Like they chose a really good guest feature on this track, and it just helps make the album stick out some more. And throughout Architect's career, they definitely have done some radio-friendly songs over the years, but with this album, it feels like it's not really overproduced, it's not really excessively polished to be radio-friendly. Like that rawness and heaviness, they weren't diluting it with this release. Because even more accessible songs like Everything Ends retain that gritty and emotional weight, and it helps avoid, you know, getting trapped into that like formulaic radio rock sound. So I think they were able to do a good job of evading that trap. And I would say the closing song Chandelier here really wraps things up in a very emotional high note with some really distorted, clean vocals, haunting riffs, and just a soaring finale. And throughout this whole finale, it's really good, but there's like a final scream on this record that kind of just throws the whole song off. Like it was like thrown in at the last minute, it feels like, or just, you know, put in for some reason, and it just kind of tanks the song just a little bit, but not that much, I guess. The production on this album is, you know, top tier because the mix is very spacious. Everything is breathing nicely and nothing feels like it's overly lapping and clashing with each other. From like the smallest synth to the biggest breakdowns, everything shines and just has its moment, and it feels well crafted. And I really like the drums on this album because every time they hit, you can feel the weight of the drums, you can feel the percussions. Every element has a very industrial metallic quality to it that just makes every heavy section of this album even more punishing. The drums are fantastic. If there's one minor critique I could have / say about this album, is that some of the transitions between the softer and heavier sections feel a little bit too abrupt, and the change in the transition just doesn't feel very cohesive and blends well. Seeing Red, for instance, delivers that long-awaited that Sam Carter is known for, but his clean vocals on that particular track feel a little bit strained compared to the early tracks. Like it just feels a little bit forced. That being said, the moments like these don't really take away from the album or just, you know, its overall impact. It just shows that the band is willing to push the boundaries in terms of their musical craftsmanship. They're willing to take these risks. Ultimately, this latest album, The Sky, the Earth, and All Between, is a bold and dynamic entry in the Architects' discography for sure, because it's able to do a really good job of capturing the band's ability to evolve without losing their core identity, blending their past sounds with their present influences into something that is very fresh and compelling. So I would say for longtime fans and newcomers of the band, I think this album delivers a lot in terms of the band's like, it's probably one of the most intense albums they've put out and has a lot of memorable moments on it. And I think it's a pretty good high note for the band in terms of being in like this industry for so long, playing this music for almost 20 years now, and still able to put out good quality work. So I would say this latest album from Architects is a good and solid 9 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this album. Tell me what your favorite Architects album is, your favorite moments, other bands that are similar to Architects that I should check out, that others should check out. And until next time, guys, see you in the pig.